Hi, and welcome to Effective's Top 10 Tips podcast. Each episode is a quick roundup of practical, easy to implement tips on a wide range of management and personal development themes. As always, full show notes for this episode, including a handy summary of each tip, are available on our website. Just see the episode notes for this and many other useful links. We also offer workshops and coaching on all topics covered in this podcast series. Today's episode is on nudge theory. Tip number 1. Before we begin, I'll ask you some questions. Firstly, why would most people take lifts rather than the stairs? 2. In Yellowstone Park in America, the heavy rains brought some of the older fossils to the surface on some of the footpaths, and the keepers of the park put some notices out saying, "Please don't take the fossils, they're very rare. Although they've just come to the surface, leave them, otherwise there'll be no fossils left." What this note did was have the reverse effect. In fact, it encouraged people to take the fossils. Why was that? Thirdly, why does fly tipping occur? And fourthly, when is the best time to sell fertilizers to farmers? Okay, I'll provide the answers to those questions, all of which are relevant to today's theory, at the end of the podcast. Tip number 2. Don't trust what people say. Trust what they do. We often rely too much on questionnaires or focus groups or surveys. However, often people will tell you what they either think you want to hear or what they think they will genuinely do. That is their intention. But in fact, as we all know, people don't always follow their intentions. And so what really matters is what people do, which is a key focus of nudge theory. Tip number 3. Go with the majority. If your actions bring about a positive change or result for 80% of those you are focusing on, then that's a positive result. Deal with the remaining 20% in a different way. So we don't automatically have to have everybody on board. There will always be exceptions, and we don't make particular allowances for those exceptions. Nudge theory prioritizes strategies that work for the majority. If most people will do it, then it's worth doing. Tip number 4. Make it easy to do it or to change. This and the following 3 tips are based on a key nudge theory acronym, EAST, E-A-S-T. The first of the 4 letters is E, representing easy. The easier something is, the more likely someone is to do it. So make things easy if you want them to happen. Tip number 5. Make the change or the behaviour you want attractive. The second letter, A, stands for attractive. So if it's attractive, somebody will be more interested in it and possibly do it because it's attractive. Tip number 6. The third letter, S, stands for socially acceptable. People are generally herd animals. We will do what most people do. We will do what is socially acceptable. We tend to follow the norm of human behaviour. We conform. We don't like to stand out. So, if most people do it, we do it. As mentioned before, there will always be exceptions, but most people follow and conform. Tip number 7. Make it timely. Finally, the T stands for timely. Make things timely for people. Make it convenient in terms of time for people to do things. Tip number 8. The reverse is true, and that's DUSI, D-U-S-I. If we reverse EAST, unfortunately, as an acronym, we don't get WEST, more's the pity, but we can have DUSI. So DUSI is difficult, unattractive, socially unacceptable, and inconvenient in terms of time. So let's take those 2 sets of 4 letters together. EAST encourages behaviour. DUSI discourages behaviour. So if you want somebody to do something, use EAST. If you want to discourage someone from doing something, make it DUSI. They both work. They both influence human behaviour towards something which is east and away from something which is doocy. Tip number 9. A personal example. I aim to walk around 10,000 steps every day. How does that fit in terms of nudge theory? For me, east works well. I find it easy, much easier than running, attractive, fresh air and exercise. I do it early when the family is asleep, so it is socially acceptable, and for the same reason it is timely. It doesn't eat into my day. For others, the idea would be doocy. It may not be easy to walk, or is not an idea they find attractive. It may not be acceptable to the family, and there might not be a convenient time in a busy day. Tip number 10. The quiz answers. So here are the answers to those quiz questions I asked right at the start. So why do people take the lift rather than the stairs? Because it's easier. When Yellowstone Park asked people not to take the fossils that had been washed to the surface because they were rare and scarce, that became an attractive incentive for people to take them. Scarcity always produces extra demand. In terms of fly tipping, once somebody has put down a mattress or a fridge in an empty place, it seems to become socially acceptable for other people to do the same. It may also be easier and more convenient to do that, rather than take the rubbish to a more distant tip. It is, though, bizarre. People who would not start the fly tip will nonetheless join it because the trend, the norm, has been established. The pattern has been set. Finally, the best time to sell fertilisers to farmers has nothing to do with the crop season. It's to do with when they are most likely to have money to be able to afford the fertiliser, and the time for that is just having sold the crops or produce. So it's a matter of timeliness. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it or leave us a review. Remember, you can find full show notes on our website, plus a growing library of free resources which you can easily search by theme to find content that's relevant for you. We also offer workshops and coaching on a wide range of topics. Links to all of these resources are in the episode notes. Thank you.